Cars is an animated film produced by Pixar Animation Studios, released in 2006. Due to the broken and non-existent logic of the Cars universe, it has become an increasingly popular trend to dislike this film, with the general consensus being that it's the black sheep of Pixar's golden age of films. However, I absolutely love this film, and I think it deserves a lot more appreciation than it gets. Of course, when it comes to this opinion, mine would be considered largely unpopular, which is why I'm talking about it today. Hi, my name is Abraham, and I have a lot of unpopular opinions when it comes to movies, TV shows, and even music. I made this YouTube channel to talk about them. Today, we're going to be talking about why I actually think that Cars is an excellent film. 1. The racing atmosphere is created really well. I'm not that much of a racing fan. I've never seen a single NASCAR race in my life, and I only know a couple of things about Formula 1. But even as someone who's never particularly cared for motorsport, I always felt thrilled to watch the Piston Cup races in Cars. The scenes boast of creativity, with its attempt to recreate real-life stadium atmosphere, whether that be in the form of cars using their headlights to make a Mexican wave, or two commentators who are both so insanely absorbed in the action that they're yelling on top of each other's voices. In fact, both Bob Cutlass and Daryl Cartrip are voiced by two real-life sportscasters, which is certainly not the only time we'll observe this in the film. The King, the number 43 Plymouth brand automobile and legendary race car, was voiced by Richard Petty, a NASCAR driver who drove a number 43 Plymouth brand automobile and was actually nicknamed the King. Other real-life racers such as Dale Earnhardt Jr., Michael Schumacher, and Mario Andretti all voiced fictionalized versions of themselves as extended cameos throughout the film. Tex, a businessman and owner of Dynaco's racing franchise, was voiced by Humpy Wheeler, the former president and general manager for the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Nothing irritates me more than when people claim that Cars is a soulless film made exclusively to sell merchandise. No, the screenwriters very obviously care about the story that they're telling here, and they pull all the stops necessary to depict racing culture accurately. But the thing is, the racing sequences don't just appeal to racing enthusiasts. They're crafted with the intention of appealing to anyone who watches them. The sounds of revving engines and pit stops, the visuals that make you feel like you're a part of the race, the explicit breakdown of the stakes, all adds up to satisfyingly well-written sequences reminiscent of a sports drama. But the film's racing sequences are merely bookends, with the real story it's trying to tell representing something much more meaningful, which brings me to my next point. 2. Radiator Springs and what it stands for. It's so unbelievably strange how every single negative review of this film neglects to mention this aspect. Cars is not really about racing. It's a tribute to US Route 66. Radiator Springs represents the small towns that got bypassed by the interstate highway system. All the inhabitants of Radiator Springs are representative of the kind of people who you'll find in such small towns.
My name is Angel Valadez Delgadillo. When we were bypassed at about this time of the day, 1:30, 2 o'clock, the world stopped. The world just forgot about us. But it didn't come back to normal for 10 long years.
What happened?
The town got bypassed just to save 10 minutes of driving.
When you begin to see your community die instantly, and no one cares whether you sink or swim, there was no reason to get out of bed.
And that's sort of why I don't understand when people say that this isn't on the same level as the rest of Pixar's Golden Age films. The film has a very clear level of passion put into it that no other animated film studio in the world could have produced. Hearing statements like this really baffles me.
And hey, it's not like the Cars trilogy and The Good Dinosaur are the worst movies in the world. They're actually pretty good. By Illumination standards.
And I will never understand the fact that this film lost Best Animated Feature to Happy Feet, a film where a group of penguins tap dancing causes humanity to realize they were harming their environment and place fishing restrictions. No, I'm not joking, that is actually what happens.
You see, first there was just one, now there's thousands of them.
Are they trying to tell us something?
So what's the problem?
Well, among other things, we are messing with their food chain.
And we have got to do something about it.
We suggest a ban on all marine harvesting.
Why should we do anything at all?
They're just a bunch of flightless birds at the bottom of the world.
I don't want to live in a world without penguins. So what are we going to do about it?
The sheriff. Bang up the sign, no fishing.
Is equal to the love you make. Oh, baby, right on.
3. The storytelling in this film is masterful. Now that I've talked about the crucial elements of the story and what they represent, that is, of course, the racing aspect and the ode to US Route 66, it's time to talk about how seamlessly the film tells this story. For starters, the film takes its time and is quite patient. I've seen a lot of people criticize that the film's runtime is almost at 2 hours, which is apparently too much for an animated film, but I don't really think that's the case. Yes, the typical runtime for an animated film is around 90 minutes or so, but it's quite unfair to hold all animated films to that same standard. What matters, in my opinion, is not the runtime itself, but how effectively a film uses it. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, for example, is an animated film with about the same runtime as Cars, yet you never feel like a minute of it is wasted, and that's what's most important. I don't know about the rest of you, but I honestly do believe that Cars' extended runtime is justified. It allows for a very gradual and patient development of the characters' arcs and their dynamics. Take Lightning McQueen as a character. The entire first race and its aftermath is used effectively to establish his character traits. He's a showboat who enjoys the attention, but is also one of the most talented racers out there. He's held back by his ego, but he also very clearly would like a few friends.
I'll pass them on to your friends. You shoot me the names. You let Harv rock it for you, alright, baby?
Right. Friends. Yes, there's,
Okay, I get it, Mr. Proper. There's so many friends you can't even narrow it down. Hey, when you get to town, you better make time for your best friend. You gotta break bread with your mashpuka here.
Yeah, that would be great. We should totally...
Okay, I gotta jump, kid. Let me know how it goes. I'm out.
His number one motivation here is to win the Piston Cup, because he would be the first rookie to do so and it would satisfy his ego. Both of these traits are the perfect setup for his growth later on. His wanting friends is what makes him play along with Mater when they go tractor tipping or when he drives backwards.
Just watch this right here, lover boy.
And when Mater finally calls McQueen his best friend, he's happy to be called that. All throughout his stay at Radiator Springs, McQueen still only wants to win the Piston Cup until he finds out the truth about Doc. The scene between Doc and McQueen is not only pivotal to McQueen's growth as a character, but it plants the seeds for Doc to grow as a character as well. Doc is the one who presents the idea to McQueen that
It's just an empty cup.
which is what enables him to give up the Piston Cup to let the King finish his last race. But it's McQueen that gets Doc to return to the racing world, even though
I keep that to remind me never to go back.
Okay, enough about character arcs. Let's talk about character relationships. I already touched briefly on McQueen and Mater's friendship, so all I'm going to point out here is that it's patient and it could not have happened with a 90-minute runtime. Similarly, McQueen's take a drive sequence with Sally is also crucial because it causes him to learn about how she came to Radiator Springs and why she stayed. And of course, that it's
kind of nice to slow down every once in a while.
The little things. I think that I've already covered most of my major points of praise for this film, so I want to take this time to cover the little things that make this film just all the more nicer. The cast is perfect. Owen Wilson and Paul Newman do great jobs to carry the dramatic weight of the story, while Michael Keaton and Larry the Cable Guy are good comedic relief. Oh, and need I even mention the Radiator Springs cast? Tony Shalhoub, Cheech Marin, George Carlin, Jennifer Lewis, and Katherine Helmond all do such great jobs in their roles. Another thing that I don't really see mentioned is that the humor in this film is so solid. Like, comedy is subjective and all, but I can't help but laugh at the jokes in this film.
Will you turn that disrespectful junk off?
Respect the classics, man. It's Hendrix.
Also, the soundtrack is marvelous. The use of songs is very fitting, with Real Gone, Life is a Highway, Our Town, Route 66, and Shaboom all being perfect for the respective sequences they were featured in. And man, Randy Newman knocks it out of the ballpark with his score. And of course, the last thing I'm going to mention here is that the visuals of the film are phenomenal. I deliberately kept this part for the very end because many people seem to believe that the visuals are what carries this film, which I absolutely disagree with. Well, I guess it's time for what I don't like about this film. However, this is the part in the video where I talk about what I actually don't like about this film. If I had to mention anything, then it would be the exact same thing that everybody else has already mentioned. The Cars universe is broken. Why do cars drink stuff? Why do cars use the bathroom? Yada yada yada. But you know what? I'm willing to excuse it. Overall, I love Cars. I think that its poor world building is still excusable when you consider the film's tributes to the racing world, to US Route 66, its use of its extended runtime to patiently develop character arcs and relationships, its setups and payoffs, committed voice cast, solid humor, fantastic soundtrack, groundbreaking visuals, and the unmistakable level of passion and dedication put into this film behind the scenes. To clarify, I didn't make this video to change anyone's mind about this film. I simply made it to present my case for why I love it. 9 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, then please press the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. And if you know anyone else who enjoys similar film criticism content, then please direct them to this video. I'd really appreciate it. Also, do let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Please be respectful of mine and other people's opinions, no matter how much you may disagree with them. I'll see you all later. Bye bye.
It's the best thing that could have happened. 'Cause sometimes when you lose your way, it's really just as well. Because you find yourself, yeah, that's when you find yourself.